Welcome on in. This is going to be a new segment, Chatterbox Top 10. Again, I just put the word Chatterbox in front of a segment that pretty much everybody else has done, but that's fine. Chatterbox Top 10. I'm going to rank the 10 players on the Cincinnati Reds, this current roster, that I am most excited for heading into the 2024 season. So, without further ado, number 10. This is a guy a lot of people probably don't have on their top 10s. It's Jabo. Number 10, Jabo. And look, I get it. This is not a name that anybody knows or remembers. It's not flashy. But Jabo, in 75 and two-thirds innings pitched, was the anchor for one of the world's most depleted bullpens ever assembled. He would work in 3 straight days. He'd come in with the bases juiced. He finished with a 3.3 ERA and was arguably the most important part of our bullpen and maybe of our pitching staff. He'd come in the 3rd inning, 4th inning, 5th inning, 9th inning. Didn't matter. Jabo was always ready to go. If he's able to replicate the season he just had, the Reds are going to be in good shape, at least in the bullpen.
With the recent signings that they've made to bolster their staff, do you feel like Jabo's role is going to increase, or do you think it's going to take a step back?
Again, you can't predict injuries, but I do think that eventually in an 162-game season, somebody getting hurt is going to be inevitable. Something bad is going to happen, and when that thing happens, Jabo is going to be ready to go. So I think to start the season, to answer your question, I think it will be a slightly diminished role. The good news is when it has to expand later on, he's going to be ready. At number 9, we have Will Benson. Now, everybody knows what happened when he was called up. He was like 0 for 50 with 40 strikeouts. It looked like he couldn't find water if he fell out of a riverboat. Cincinnati joke. Ding. Then he came back, and he was arguably the most important offensive player we had against right-handed pitching. 270 average, 365 OBP. He almost had 20 stolen bases. Became a very, very, very good defender. I believe he's going to take the job away from Jake Fraley. He's going to be our starting right fielder. It's going to be fun to see the Big Red Platoon, as it was called last year, what David Bell will do. But I think Will Benson's going to have just as good, if not better, a season than he did last year. Number 8, TJ Friedl. TJ Friedl was the unsung hero of the 2023 season. In a year filled with excitement, in a year filled with youth, no one talks about TJ Friedl. In 138 games and over 550 plate appearances, he never one time grounded into a double play. He hit 280, a 350 OBP, he added 8 triples, and had almost 30 stolen bases. Defensively, he's dynamite. This guy, again, could be a rock of an outfield that is going to be implementing a lot of new pieces. You're going to have Steer, you're going to have India, you're going to have all sorts of things going on out there. You're going to have one constant, and that's TJ Friedl in center. He is going to be the staple of this outfield.
You named 2 outfielders now.
Yeah.
Both have quite considerable amount of buzz around them. Who do you anticipate has a bigger – I know you have them at 9-8. Who do you think is more likely to expand on their season from a year ago?
TJ Friedl. I think TJ Friedl is going to steal more bases. I think he's going to hit more extra base hits. And not to mention, again, defensively, he's everything we need in center field. He's the captain of that outfield. At number 7, we have Frankie Montas. I'd argue it's the highest upside of any of the free agents the Reds have signed. He's been a good pitcher. If he can replicate some of that early A's magic, he might be one of the most, if not the most, starting pitcher we have in the rotation. I really do believe that. And again, he could be bad. There's a chance in a hitter-friendly ballpark that is GABP that he gives up moonshots left and right, and hell, he might not make it through half the season. He's got a low floor. But I do say, ceiling-wise, I think he can be just as good, if not better, than anybody in this starting rotation. Frankie Montas, 7.
Are you at all concerned about the Reds, who had a starting pitching staff with a lot of injuries last year? Their biggest signing was a guy who had injuries last year.
That's fair. That's certainly fair. But again, at some point, I can't sit here and say that I'm afraid of every single player on this team to get hurt. At some point, we just have to play and look forward, and that's what's going to happen. Again, we're going to get into another pitcher later on, but injuries, I can't predict injuries. I can just assume they're going to happen and move on. If everything goes right, I think Frankie Montas might be the number 1 guy in our rotation. Number 6, we have Spencer Steer. I'd argue he should have been Rookie of the Year. He was the rock of the lineup. Guy played in 156 games, played about 9 different positions, hit 270, OBP 360. He hit 23 home runs, 15 stolen bases. I expect him to be the same player. I expect him to be just that. Now, his ceiling is not as high as anybody else's. His ceiling's probably lower, but his floor is the highest on this team by far. I think he's going to give me 270, 360. I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to give me 20 home runs. Is he going to be the world's greatest player? No. But when you need a hit, I trust Spencer Steer to go out there and get me a hit. He's not a great defender, but that's what you are when you're a utility guy, right? You're playing all over the field. You're there to be an offensive weapon and be serviceable defensively, and that's what he is. Number 5, this is a guy that everybody ruled out. Everybody wanted him shipped out, Jonathan India. He's back, and he's ready to play everywhere. He's ready to take on the Spencer Steer role from last season, and I'm all here for it. I get it. He's not a good defensive player, but he is the Rookie of the Year, the past Rookie of the Year. The guy can contribute at a high level. This is a make-or-break season for my guy, Jonathan India. If he's bad this year, I have to shut up. I can't talk about him anymore because at some point you are what you are. But Jonathan India, I do believe, is able to produce at a high offensive level. Defensively, maybe he can be at least better. It's hard to be worse than he is defensively, but maybe he can be a little bit better in the outfield. Maybe at first base. He's going to play a little first base, he said. I'm fine with Jonathan India as a mediocre defender as long as he's producing offensively. That's all I want. Steal a couple bases, hit a couple home runs, try not to ground into 100 double plays. That's what I want out of Jonathan India. I'm excited to have him back. I'm excited him to bring at least some of the positive fans back into the stadium because God knows we like to cheer for guys like Jonathan India, the young rookies, as it were, but he's not a rookie anymore. Number 4.
Well, be an odds maker. How many games does Jonathan India play this year?
I'm gonna be optimist. I'm gonna say he's gonna play 100+ games. He's gonna play 100+ games.
I would have put it like 120.
So
if I give you 120, would you take the over or the under?
I would take right around 120. I think that's fair. I would take the over. Okay. For being an optimist, I'm gonna take the over. Right. Number 4, Tyler Stevenson. I wasn't too kind to old Tyler Stevenson last year. He struggled defensively. He hit into 16 double plays, which led the team. It might have led Major League Baseball for all I know. He has to be better. He is our catcher moving forward, and he has to be better. Luke Maile, his time is going to end after this season, most likely. So Tyler Stevenson has to step up to be the catcher that at least we thought he was when we drafted him. Defensively, he was not good. He wasn't good defensively. Offensively, we know he struggled. I'm not asking for 100 home runs out of Tyler Stevenson in a season. I'm asking for 20 home runs. I'm asking for a couple big RBIs when we need one. I'm asking for meaningful at-bats, meaningful hits. Because it seemed like anytime we needed him to get any sort of production offensively, he wasn't able to do that. I think this year he's going to step up. He's going to prove the haters, me, wrong. I think he's going to be back. I think he's going to prove that he is our starting catcher. He played 140 games last year. It's not like there's any doubt of that. But stop with the first base nonsense. Have him catch. Get him back to work. We're going to be fine.
If I could give you one place that he could, majorly improve in, would you rather his power or his defense? Him defensively, which would you rather him take major strides in improving wise? I
would take offense. I take offense.
You would take the power.
I take offense over defense every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Now, the Reds were terribly defensively last year. Saying that, I still think in the MLB, if you can produce more runs than you lose defensively, I think you're going to win a lot of games. That was a Trent Dilfer moment, but that's fine. Number 3, Hunter Greene. This is our ace. I firmly believe this is our ace. At surface value, he had a 4.8 ERA last year. He had 152 strikeouts and 110 innings. The bottom line is he wasn't healthy. He hasn't been healthy for quite some time. That's the biggest key. And Reed talked about injuries just a couple minutes ago. But if this team can be healthy, I really do believe they are a bona fide NL Central champion team that can win a playoff series. I believe that in my heart. I believe that with my brain. Hunter Greene is going to be the key. He has to play more games. He has to. I need more than 110 innings. He has the most amount of pitches over 100 miles per hour in the league. He's great. I think his contract's great. It's incentive-based. If he performs well, he's going to get paid a lot of money. It was one of the more team-friendly deals I've seen, and people were still somehow upset with it. Hunter Greene, if he's able to give me, I don't know how many starts, let's start with 25 starts. If you can give me 24 to 25 starts, and you can give me somewhere around a sub-4 ERA, I'm going to be happy. But I think ceiling-wise, I think he can get to that 3.4 ERA. I think he can strike out 250 guys, 200 guys. That's fine. Hunter Greene's going to be good, and it's going to start right now. Go ahead.
My bold prediction for this Red season is that if they make the postseason, The talk after whatever their round was in the postseason will be Hunter Green. That'll be the centralized talk. Will be he either shut it down or he blew up, because that's been kind of his MO to this point in his career. A lot of greatness and a lot of
I think there's going to be answers to any questions you have regarding Hunter this year. That's for sure. If he's unable to stay healthy, at some point you are what you are again. I don't want to turn this into the Nick Senzel effect, but Nick Senzel was never healthy. Was that partly because of the Reds? Was that partly because of him? I don't know. Either way, Nick Senzel could never give you what you wanted because he was never on the field. If Hunter Green can be on the field, he's going to eventually figure this out and give you what you want, and that's going to be a bona fide ace. At number 2, Elliot De La Cruz. We all know what this guy is. Dude's a superstar. At times he struggled offensively. At times he struggled defensively. But very rarely does one person have the ability to spark excitement in an entire city. You saw it with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow brought the Bengals back from death. One of the league's worst franchises, without question. Elliot De La Cruz is going to bring this franchise back to life. I have to believe it. He's going to steal 60 bases. He's going to hit 35 home runs. He is going to be everything you think he is and more. I have to believe it. I think the fan base is going to believe it. And when you watch this season, Elliot De La Cruz, I saw that stupid fan graphs rating of him, how he's only going to hit 20 home runs and have 30 stolen bases, both of those which he would have easily done had he had a full season last year. Elliot De La Cruz is a superstar, and you're going to see it this year. By far the most excited, the most excitement a player has brought into Cincinnati.
Is it possible for the Reds to accomplish what they want to accomplish without Elliot De La Cruz? There's a lot of talent around, but it feels like it all revolves around this guy.
No. Again, if you want the Reds to be as successful as one can hope, he has to be on the field. He has to contribute at a high level. Not to mention what he brings offensively, but defensively, what he can do with that glove is unbelievable. Right. If he can steal 60 bases, if he can get on base, the Reds are going to win games, all of the games, because he can steal 4 bases at once. That's what this guy is. At number 1, my number 1, the player I'm most excited for this season, Noelvi Marte. The guy was incredible last year. He only played in 35 games. But in those games, he maintained a .316 average with a .370 OBP. He ended the year on a 20-game hit streak. I really believe he's going to win Rookie of the Year this season. I bet on it if you're a responsible gambler. He's going to cement himself as our starting third baseman, and he's going to have the best season out of any player we have, without question. I was asked on our show Off the Bench earlier this year, would you rather have Jonathan India over Noelvi Marte? And that was before Noelvi came up. I said Jonathan India, without a doubt. Never have I been proven more wrong than that. Never. Noelvi Marte is a superstar. I think he can be just as big of a name as Elliot De La Cruz. I think he can bring that same level of excitement. I think that kid is a stud. I think he's going to be great this season. And again, I think he's going to win Rookie of the Year. He's going to be the best offensive and defensive rookie in Major League Baseball. Noelvi Marte is my number 1 player to be most excited about.
All right, let's do it. Let's get into some omissions. So let's start off with a couple of names that I wasn't surprised that they weren't on the list, but certainly some people would have them on their players most to be excited for. And that is Nick Lodolo, Graham Ashcraft.
Again, these are 2 guys I think very, very highly of. I think both of them can be great. Nick Lodolo, I am concerned that there is an injury issue. Maybe there's not. I think Nick Lodolo has potential to be, again, a Hunter Green, an ace. Have I seen it yet? No. And until I see it, until I see that spark, I'm going to say he's not on my top 10 list. As for Graham Ashcraft, there was a point last year during, I think it was a 6-week stretch, 8-week stretch maybe,
really good,
where he was maybe the best pitcher in the NL Central. I think he can do that. Can he do it consistently is my question. And for that, as of right now, I say no. But I think he could potentially.
All right, there's some more. You mentioned one relief pitcher, and Ian Jabo.
That's right.
In an offseason when they signed Nick Martinez,
that's right,
Brent Suter, but you did not mention Alexis Diaz in your top 10 players you're most excited for.
I fear that Alexis Diaz has reached his peak. There was a point during the end of last season, and maybe it was because the bullpen was depleted, it was tired, it was worn out, it was beat up. It looked like Alexis Diaz lost his confidence. It lost his control. You saw it in that Pirates game when the Reds blew a 10-run lead or whatever the hell it was. I think there's a chance he's already reached his peak. And if that's the case, I'm going to be very sad. I think he's a great closer, arguably the best closer in the National League, arguably. But as of right now, I do think there's a chance for some downside this season.
Okay, so you mentioned some other guys. You didn't mention the biggest signing that the Reds made this offseason. That's Jeimer Candelario.
I think Candelario, and again, this is no knock on him. This is, I feel like, a trend that the Reds have had for quite some time, that any major signing we have doesn't go our way. And sometimes it does, but I feel like for the better part of the past 10 years, it has not gone our way. And Nick Castellanos, I would say, is a rare exception. But we saw what happened with Moose. God bless him. But he wasn't very good, and he went in the tank as soon as we gave him that deal. I think there's still a chance Candelario kind of doesn't produce up to what we expect. Not to mention, I do think Noelvi Marte is going to take that third baseman job, which means he's going to have to go to first. And if that happens, obviously, I think Christian Encarnacion-Strand can also be very good.
Yeah, that was the other name. I said that a lot of people project him to hit 40 home runs at Great American
I don't think
Ballpark.
he's hitting 40 home runs.
Okay, 30 home runs is still a heck of a year, and you didn't have him in there players to be excited for.
I think he's going to be great, but when you're looking into this season, I don't think he's going to be the staple of the team. I think all the guys I listed have a chance to either improve upon what they did last year or be consistently good enough to help this team win games, 140-plus games. I don't think CES is going to get the playing time that everybody thinks he's going to get. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to switch from first base to DH. I think it's going to depend. Could he be a 40-home run guy? Yeah. But again, I'm going to need to see more. And until I do, he is off the list. The other name that people are going to the other name people are going to get upset about, should I have had Matt McClain in the list? Probably. I probably should have had him in there. But here's the thing. I do think with Matt McClain, there might be a chance of downside. I don't want it to happen. I don't think it'll happen. But I think Matt McClain is a great defender. I think he's great offensively. He's everything you wanted. In the limited time we had him last year before injury, I really do believe Matt McClain might have been the best rookie. Saying that, when you're the best rookie of last year, it's hard to get better than that. And for that reason alone, I'm going to say he's not in my list. Now, should he be in the list? Yeah, and people are probably going to make fun of me all day long. That's fine. He should be in the list. I'm openly admitting that now. But saying that, I do think out of all the rookies, I do think Ellie, I think Noelvi, I think Spencer Steer, I think all those guys, Will Benson, I think these guys are the guys I'm more looking forward to just because I think all of them can improve upon what they did last year.
Yeah, there's already rumors swirling on X.com that you're anti-Matt McClain.
I am not anti-Matt McClain. I want to get that out in the open. But this has been the Chatterbox Top 10. In the comment section below, tell me who I should have put in, who I left out. I know you're going to say Matt McClain, and that's fine. After that, like the post, like the stream, like the video for me. And after that, that's it. God bless America. Have a great day. Chatterbox Top 10.